Hi, ladies and gentlemen, Morgan Reichenberg here again. This is going to be another live stream number 9, and I'm going to simply do grimoire discussions today, thereby meaning that I'm going to go over certain grimoires, specific grimoires, that I'll just be selecting at random, but to be honest, viewers can also request. If they have any requests, they can request it right away in terms of what grimoire they want me to go through and analyze and whatnot. Um, and yeah, I think the most well-known ones. I don't really have a lineup of grimoires, but yeah, I'm just gonna go over the most familiar ones or the most basic ones, and then we can simply take things from there. Homer Simpson says hello, hello to you too, Homer. Uh, Hold on, let me notify someone. Okay, I see two people watching. So yeah, let's just dive right into it. Okay. The first grimoire that I'm going to discuss is the Goetia. We're gonna start right off the bat with the Goetia. Oh, hold on, let me get the Goetia. Funny thing, I used to call the Goetia Gutia. It sounds stupid in hindsight, okay, but yeah. I mean, in Dutch, I just call the Goetia the Gutia. I wouldn't call it the Goetia, but yeah. So yeah, let's just get started. Today's Sunday. It's 9:58 a.m. in my location right now. So almost 10 a.m. I'm assuming that most people are sleeping. Well, not most people are sleeping, but that a couple of people are still wide asleep, or not wide asleep, just sound asleep. I mean, oh, I can understand that today being Sunday and all, but yeah, I'm all slept out. I slept twice, and so yeah, so now I'm fully awake. So yeah, let's just get started and discuss everything. The Goetia. I like the cover, to be honest too. Okay, the way the Goetia begins. Just gonna clear some things up for those people that are hard of hearing and those that simply can't understand. Some people that are simply too hard, too stubborn-minded to the point where they don't keep these things in mind. So I'm gonna discuss stuff like that. Yeah. And yeah, let me start with the introductory. The initiated interpretation of ceremonial magic. It is loftily amusing to the student of magical literature who is not quite a fool, and rare is such a combination, to notice the criticism directed by the Philistine against the citadel of his science. Truly, since our childhood has ingrained us into not only literal belief in the Bible, but also substantial belief in Alf Laila and Walaila and okay, a thousand by Afwalaila and so on. It's simply a reference to 1001 Arabian Nights. And only adolescents can cure us. We're only too liable in the rush and energy of dawning manhood to overturn roughly and rashly both these classics. To regard them both on the same level as interesting documents from the standpoint of folklore and anthropology, and as nothing more. Even when we learn that the Bible, by profound and minute study of the text, may be forced to yield up Kabbalistic arcana of cosmic scope and importance, we are we're often slow to apply a similar restorative to the companion volume, even if we are the lucky holders of Britain's variable edition. To me, then, it remains to raise the Alf Laila was Laila into its proper place, nothing more. I'm not concerned to deny the reality of all magical phenomena. If they are illusions, they're at least as real as many unquestioned facts of daily life. And if we follow Herbert Spencer, they're at least evidence of some cause. Now, this is fact. This fact is in our base. Oh, Gregory M says hello. Guy Gregory, you're also online. For those of you that have just joined us, grimoire discussions. I'll simply be going through grimoires and I'll be analyzing them and sharing the information or the analysis with all of you. So, as a means to imprint knowledge that people shouldn't forget but still do. Jason Dunn has just joined us. Sunday greetings, Marino. Hello to you too. Um, okay, Jason, we're doing Grimoire discussions. Yeah, and right now I'm reciting the introduction to the Goetia by Aleister Crowley. Now, this fact is our base. What is the cause of my illusion of seeing a spirit in the triangle of the earth? Every smatterer, every expert in psychology will answer that cause lies in your brain. English children are taught that the universe lies in infinite space. Hindu children in the Akasha, which is the same thing. Those Europeans who go a little deeper learn from Fichte that the phenomenal universe is the creation of the ego. Hindus or Europeans studying under Hindu gurus are told that by Akasha is mean the Shitakasa, sorry. The Shitakasa is situated in the third eye in the brain. By assuming higher dimensions of space, we can assimilate this fact, this phase to realism, but we have no need to take so much trouble. This being true for the ordinary universe, that all sense impressions are dependent on changes in the brain. We must include illusions which are after all sense impressions as much as realities are in the class of phenomena dependent on brain changes. Magical phenomena, however, under a special curve class since they are willed, and their cause is the series of real phenomena called the operations of ceremonial magic. These consist of the sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch, and mind. And then he mentions things that are used in grimoire operations: a circle, square, triangle, vessels, blah blah blah, etc., etc. Invocations, perfumes, the combinations of all of these, and reflection on their significance. These unusual impressions produce unusual brain changes, hence their summary is of unusual kind. Its projection back into the apparently phenomenal world is therefore unusual. Um, Herein then consists the reality of operations and effects of ceremonial magic, and I conceive that the apology is ample so far as the effects refer only to those phenomena which appear to the magician himself, the appearance of the spirit, his conversation, possible shocks from imprudence, and so on, even to ecstasy on the one hand and death or madness on the other. But can any of the effects described in this or book Goetia be obtained? And if so, can you give a rational explanation of the circumstances? Say you so. I can and will. The spirits of the Goetia are portions of the human brain. Their seals therefore present methods of stimulating or regulating those particular spots. The names of God are vibrations calculated to establish general control of the brain in detail, control over one special portion, etc., etc. We've read enough, okay? Long story short, Aleister Crowley, provided that he edited this or that he yeah, provided that he did indeed edit this and that these are truly his own words. That's his opinion, to be honest. Okay, solely his opinion. It's not based on any fact. This is just speculation from someone that is possibly an atheist. I don't know if Aleister Crowley was an atheist or is he at least, at the very least, he had atheistic tendencies going into the Goetia or discussing the Goetia. And yeah, what the assumption that he's making is that, of course, magic isn't real and that it's all an illusion, and that the whole operation, all the attributes, the things that you have, the circle and whatnot, blah blah, etc., the incenses and so on, simply produce a certain effect in your brain, and that effect sees to it that spirits appear, and so on and so forth. I'd like to know occult experiences. Hi, hello to you too. Um, I'd like to know what people that are viewing this, what their thoughts are in the sidebar, if they have any opinion or thoughts on this thing. Who agrees with Crowley? Who disagrees with Crowley? Because I, for one, disagree. Of course, spirits are not portion of the human brain. They're not a figment of your imagination. By that logic, you can also say that, hey, the entire world around me is a figment of my imagination. The sun, the moon, the world as I experience it, the reality as a whole is nothing more than one gigantic illusion. And death is going into another illusion. It's pure bullshit, okay? I mean, you have to be in denial to, honestly. From where I stand, you have to be in denial to have such a viewpoint on things. A brief interlude. The container and contents is asking me, do you spend a lot of time astral projecting? Isn't it more fun and interesting to explore astral realms where you can fly, teleport, and see new realms rather than living in the mundane real world? No, it's not. You think that in, I don't know, you think that in some way, shape, or form, but it is not, okay? It is just like any other magical exercise, and after a while, you'll get bored with it the way that I did. I just astral traveled like nuts, and after a while, I said to myself, okay, it's enough because it's just enough, period. And yeah, to stay on topic, Jason Dunn disagrees with Crowley. He's not a fan of Crowley. I can understand that, especially based on Crowley's skewed and erratic behavior, things I've heard about Crowley, or things that I read back in my days as a beginner when I read a lot of books. That Crowley all of a sudden became homosexual, dressed in women's clothing. Any average person or normal person, let's just say anyone that's not an occultist, a mundane person, would label Crowley as insane. I'm not saying that Crowley is insane. I'm grateful for the fact that he edited the Goetia and all the other books that he edited and his occult contributions overall, but I disagree with him on this one, period. Gregory M says, no, magic is not an illusion, no more than reality. Yeah, exactly. My point exactly. So, yeah, all the people thus far agree with me in turn that they disagree with Crowley. All of us pretty much, at least the people that have commented, me, Jason, and Gregory, agree that Crowley is wrong in this one. You have to deal with reality, okay? Whether it's harsh or whether it's pleasant, and the reality is that we are influenced without, as beings, we're simply influenced by higher powers and higher beings, beings that find themselves in a more elevated position, and we're influenced by energies, whether we're aware of it or not, and we have no say in the matter. Deal with that. But from this perspective, honestly, it's an atheistic perspective. People that generally speaking have this opinion thinks that the world revolves around them. And how self-centered do you have to be to think that? How egocentric do you have to be to think that literally the world revolves around you? That mankind is literally the creator of everything in existence, and that's it. When you yourself can't give birth to your own existence. So yeah, that makes no sense whatsoever, honestly. But yeah, these people. I'm not condemning atheists. I have no problem with atheists. To each his own. It's live and let live. But their logic is flawed, to say the least. Okay. Their logic is literally hinting at self empowerment. You can be self empowered and at the same time acknowledge that you are not the most powerful thing in the universe. Gregory M says, if so, how can an illusion affect someone else's reality? Yeah, exactly. Again, you're making valid points, Gregory. All of it is true, of course. So yeah, we disagree with Crowley. Period. Moving along. And then it begins, Shem Hamfurash. The first principal spirit is a king ruling in the east called Baal. He made a deed to go invisible. He ruled over 66 legions of infernal spirits. He appeared in diverse shapes, sometimes like a cat, sometimes a toad, sometimes like a man, and sometimes all these forms at once. He speaketh hoarsely. This is his character, which is used to be worn as a man before him who calleth him forth, or else he will not do thee homage or homage. So yeah, this is basically what all the spirits look like that are mentioned in the Goetia. They're listed by number. All of them have ranks. We're talking about royalty-based ranks that were primarily used in medieval times and before that time. Baal, the spirit Baal, is labeled a king. So yeah, this is where the bullshit meter starts jumping. Bullshit. Okay, titles don't mean anything. These spirits can't be appointed titles. Okay, how can you label Baal a king? Of course, this is in no way meant offensively towards any spirit, but Baal is not a king. Okay, no more than any other spirit is a king. By that logic, I can call myself king. I mean, these things make no sense whatsoever. These ranks were created by men and bestowed upon them by other men unto other men. Okay, kings were crowned, and king is simply a reference to back in medieval times, or was a reference to the ruler over of a certain civilization or a certain level of people. The modern equivalent, to be honest, of a king would be a president or a prime minister. And yeah, you can't call a spirit a king or a president or a prime minister or anything like that because it makes no sense. So yeah, that's bullshit meter number one. That's where bullshit meter jumps. So yeah, bullshit number one is that these titles are non-applicable. So you can safely disregard them. I repeat, you can safely disregard them. God knows I have. I never have used these titles. I've never used these titles or seriously seen these spirits as, hey, a king. No. Second bullshit meter thingy. He ruled over 66 legions of infernal spirits. Okay. There is no surefire way to confirm whether this spirit does indeed rule over all these other subservient spirits. By default, higher ranking spirits have spirits that are subservient upon them, with the exception of working with the spirit himself or herself or itself and confirming that and having divinations confirm that in its turn that what the spirit is saying is true. So that's also it's not as much bullshit as the king thing, as the titles bestowed upon these spirits, but it is it's also still bullshit. So you can also disregard that. For me, it doesn't matter whether a spirit has subservient spirits under him or not. What's important is what that spirit can do for you, and so on. Um, this is also an example of misdirection. The people that care about hold on before I continue, right? The container in the contents is saying ask Paimon. I always hear he insists on being called King Paimon always. He can clarify if they care about titles. Okay, so yeah, here you go again. Bullshit. Okay, I've summoned Paimon. I've worked with Paimon. It's Paimon, plain and simple Paimon. No fucking king or anything else. And he agrees with me, and he says, "Yes, you can just call me Paimon. The titles, I don't have to say anything more. You know, the titles. You know what's up with these so-called titles. I mean, of course, they like being called by title. The same way, if you were to call me Grandmaster Morino, I like you calling me Grandmaster, but I know that I'm not a Grandmaster. Oh, that's all in the eye of the beholder. So yeah, there you have your answer. Period. So yeah, I'm gonna continue. First thing, misdirection two in the Goetia. This is like, as I said in another video of mine, in which I discuss the credibility and validity of grimoires. Grimoires are littered with misinformation to throw off people deliberately. It's that, okay. Another possibility you could say is also that the writers of the Goetia, the writers or the editors of the Goetia, one of the two or both even, they they didn't know what they were talking about. They had a basic idea on spirits, but they got the attributes all wrong and so on. That's also a possibility, but uh, but it's more the former than the latter. These, based on my knowledge and experience in terms of grimoires as a whole, all of these medieval grimoires or these old ancient grimoires that were passed down to us through time and edited, of course, by modern occultists or modern day occultists. They, yeah, the people that wrote these grimoires, they did not want the grimoire to fall into the wrong hands, if you will. They didn't want to make summoning spirits easy, otherwise, every jackass could summon spirits. They want you to basically prove yourself by deliberately inserting misinformation. That way, people that only have a superficial take on it will never get anywhere. Whereas you that really go the entire 20 miles or 100 miles even to get to the bottom of it, you will uncover the truth and you'll be able to really make use of the spirit's power or the power of these spirits. So that is the primary reason and the main reason. Secondly, yeah, here and there, magicians back in the day, again, evolution plays a part. Back in that day, you didn't have as effective as material to work with. So they did make mistakes on several occasions. Okay, and you can tell that sometimes they got close to in terms of what a spirit can do regarding attributes, but they still got it wrong. Um, and in Bale's case, yeah, this is also horrendous bullshit. In my video on Bale, it's a popular video, by the way. Bale says, thank you for the mention. Paimon too. Um, 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 the whole thing about invisibility. He make a Digo invisible. Pure bullshit. Again, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. And see, that's where it comes in. He make a Digo invisible. That's pure nonsense. To clarify this, I am going to go to my own article on bail. Give me a second. There you go. The research file, volume 16, Baal. I invoked Baal some time ago, and for those that do not know who he is an infernal spirit mentioned in a grimoire called the Gwecha. See here for the wiki page on him, he also has pagan roots and is presumably the same as the pagan god Baal. When I invoked Baal, he was very humble, and he's the first spirit that I've summoned that has asked me what voice I wanted him to speak in and what appearance he thought that he ought to take. He displayed then as a Middle Eastern human male dressed neatly in red and black and toggled up and down between that and a giant toad. So the traditional look is as is written. I liked his human form the most and told him to retain that form. His voice was half human and half giant frog. The turban he wore turned into a crown every now and then because of the whole king thing. And then every now and then, and he held a scepter that turned into a spear, which I like more. He also did chainmail and breastplate armor on near the end of the ritual, as well as showing me his cat form. I had a dream the day after where I was being chased by a giant frog and that it was trying to eat me. Not horrific, but more hazy and unclear. Regarding information on Bale and his skills, he is Martian in nature, corresponds to 8 degrees in Aries, and has proficiency in handling weapons aside from basic Martian traits. There does lie a small chance of misfortune in working with him, dealing with him, and the results. Lastly, he is good at bringing in money on a stable basis, albeit this will take some time. His skill that he is most well known for, the ability to make people invisible or teach them to do so, is by far not his strongest trait. This was most likely just bestowed upon him, quote unquote, bestowed upon him, and he has gotten better at it over time, but he is no shiner when it comes to clairvoyance. And then you have the video, of course, and I remember even all this time, this was written May 28, 2017, 2 years ago in May, the end of May. Before I get to the statements and questions that people are making, let me just round up this thing. I still remember, even after all this while, what I wrote down in what I said in the video. That was the article. In the video I remember, okay, it is most likely the case, I'm near sure of it, okay, based on everything that I know, that Bale is simply a derivative, or he's simply taken, Bale is simply another form, or better said, the infernal, so-called demonized form of the pagan god Bale. That god, pronounced Baal. Baal back in those days was simply meant lore. For example, if you were to call me Baal Ravenberg, that would simply mean Mr. or Lord Ravenberg. You'll see that too if you look up the Wikipedia page. I'm looking at it right now, and hold up for a second. Yeah, and it was named after Hadat. Yeah. So the demon, so-called infernal spirit Baal, is in reality Baal Hadad. Baal Hadad, blah blah blah, was the storm and rain god in the Northwest Semitic and ancient Mesopotamian religions. So yeah, it was in Mesopotamia and Assyria, and back in those days, more Persian-looking Middle Eastern BC civilizations worship Baal. And yeah, and Baal was sometimes invoked. It's also mentioned here as a what's it called again? Uh, as an oracle. Yeah, exactly. That's where the whole invisibility thing comes from. The whole attribute regarding is invisibility comes from that. Okay, and I'm gonna write a brief. I'm going to I'm going to citate or recite a small portion for you guys, just for clarity's sake, from the Wikipedia page from Baal Hadad. Shamash is another god, also by Mesopotamian / Assyrian god or Babylonian, and so on. Shamash and Adat became in combination the gods of oracles and of divination in general. Whether the will of the gods is determined through the inspection of the liver or the sacrificial animal through observing the action of oil bubbles in a basin of water or through the observation of the movements of the heavenly bodies, it is Shamash and Adat who in the ritual connected with divination are invariably invoked. Similarly, in the annals and votive inscriptions of the kings, when oracles are referred to, Shamash and Adat are always named as the gods addressed, and their ordinary designation in such instances is Belebiri, lords of divination. And yeah, I don't need to say anything else. That is clear in itself, ladies and gentlemen. So you guys can see for yourself, okay? It's simply a matter of connecting the dots. Most likely, okay, I'm near sure of it. Baal is simply Baal Hadad. I know that Baal is Baal Hadad, but yeah, Baal is Baal Hadad, which was simply demonized at one time, most likely when these civilizations, either one or more of them, that worshipped him fell to Christians and or similar, or their god simply became known by Christians, and the person that wrote this book, the person that wrote the Goetia originally, simply equated Baal automatically to be a demon because that's where the phrase demonization comes from. Basically, every pagan god during Christian conquests was demonized, as in, hey, that's a demon. Don't worship that. That's an evil spirit. It's a demon. And that's where the whole infernal thing comes into play. Baal is by far not the only spirit to whom this applies. And that's where the whole invisibility thing comes from. The author of the Goetia had a vague idea about what Baal was good at, based on the whole divination thing. He heard somewhere that, hey, oracles used to invoke Baal, or Baal was one of the guys invoked when oracles wanted to know something, when they had need of clairvoyant faculties. And somewhere along the line, or somewhere down the road, he linked it with invisibility, either as a means of exaggeration or similar, just for sensationalism. I don't know, it almost reminds me of a medieval form of EA querying. I'm not dissing querying, but you guys know what I mean. Those of you that are familiar with EA querying know what I mean. Okay, so yeah, now I'm going to go to the chat bar. The container and content says it makes sense they insert misinformation because who shares power? Why would they give away such incredible power so easily? Yeah, my point exactly. David B says, hey Muridam, how are you doing? Hello, David B. Greetings from Prague, right? I'm assuming you're in Prague, right? Or just outside Prague. And anyway, in any case, greetings to the Czech Republic. Gregory M says, "Do you know how many spirits in the Goetia you summoned?" No, because I don't exactly keep track, or I don't exactly count them. I'd have to consult all the videos that I did, called Goetic videos. Hold on for a second. That gives you an approximate number in terms of how many Goetic spirits I have worked with. Oh, hold up for a second. But even aside from that, I don't think I have done articles on certain Goetic spirits, but I haven't done a video on every Goetic spirit that I've summoned, as far as I know. So I'm not sure. In any case, hold on. Come on, let me see Goetic spirits. Goetic spirits, I have 37 videos, so I've summoned at least 37 spirits from the Goetia, at least 37. So there you go. Gregory M says, "Do you have a theory on why there's so much bullshit in the Goetia?" And like I said, I simply use Baal as an example. So there you go. You have a general idea. Long story short, very shortly summarized, it's simply misinformation for the sake of concealing power, so that only those that are deemed worthy, according to the author's viewpoint, will uncover the truth. And that's the primary reason. Secondly, it is simply the fact that that the author of this was also human and prone to error making, or prone to errors, period. How do you find astrological information on spirits? Where can I find astrological information on the archangel I work with right now? No, I do it myself, okay? As an astrologer, I know how to cast it and what to do in order to see what a spirit can do and what his attributes are and all of that. Keep going on the Goetia, very interesting. Okay. Yeah, thanks. Before I continue, I'm gonna take a brief sip of juice. Does anyone have any comments or any statements or any remarks on all the things that I treated thus far? Any opinions on the Goetia as a whole, or Bale in particular, or just yeah, just those two topics and everything that I've been discussing and that I've said up to this point? Let me know. I'm here on standby. I'll give you guys a minute while I just wait for someone to actually comment. If no one comments, then I'll automatically assume that no one has anything to say. Hello, Lazaro LG just came online. Geez, you've been live every day now. Yeah, in the past days, I am live streaming more. But again, I live stream. I live stream based on. Sorry about that. I thought I had something in my teeth. In any case, I've just been live streaming based on intuition. Not just scheduling live streams for miscellaneous questions. I just thought about things to discuss, and people seem to really like it, or not seem to. They really like it. In any case, welcome, Lazaro LG. David B says the Goicho was originally written in what language, because maybe some words got lost in translation. That could be, but that accounts for all grimoires, and not just grimoires. It accounts for a bunch of things that were passed down or passed on to us from medieval times or before. The authors of it, or the researchers slash authors, or the editors, they can only get so close, and I can't blame them. They still did their best. I'm not saying that I could be able to do any better if I were to originally uncover something or got mistranslated. Yes, that is the case. There are a couple of examples. Jason Dunn says, just want to say your astrological information on spirits is absolutely on point and very enlightening. Thanks. Definitely recommend your readings to anyone interested. Yeah, thanks again, Jason. Thanks for all the support. The container and content says, so are people like E.A. Powering and Orly Stewart? I'm not familiar with Orly Stewart, etc. Just theatrical magicians due to their ostentatious dress, etc. Is their magic legit? Do you follow also occultists on YouTube? No, I don't. Like I said, I'm a solitary magician. I do my own thing, and I'm familiar with other occultists on a basic level, like VK Jehanam, and because I'm friends with him on Facebook, but I never communicated with him. Aaron Leach, or Leach, I'm sorry, however his name is pronounced. Brian Gardner, also known as Frater Ashen Shasan. You name it. I'm familiar with these guys back in the days that I was a beginner, but I don't communicate really with them. To each his own. They all work in their own way, and I still stay focused on my doing my own thing, and the results are all important to me. Like I mentioned, okay, guys like E.A. Kuereng, he is legit. I've worked with a couple of spirits from E.A. Kuereng's grimoires, and I've worked out of his grimoires as a beginner. And yes, his things have merit. His work has merit. It's just that he sensationalizes it for the sake of selling, as far as I can tell, for the sake of selling as much as possible. And he just overbloats things and greatly exaggerates, makes things seem grandiose when they're not, or not as grandiose as they are. It's like a movie, okay, like movie explosions, for example. Real life explosions aren't nearly as interesting, but movie explosions, all you have to do is just shoot the tank of a car and it'll go boom, and the car will fly upwards, and you'll think, oh, it's so sick, look at that. When in reality, you can shoot at a tank all you want. It's not going to happen. Okay. That's just an example. Lazaro Valji says, I'd hang out and ask questions sooner, but I was binging a show with a friend. You were binge watching a show with a friend, but thankfully we finally finished it yesterday. Okay. No problem. David B says, could be said same with the Bible and such, because in original it's always different. Also, how do you know grimoires is legit, by intuition or by trying it out? By trying it out, like I said, by trying it out. Okay. I'm not an armchair magician, obviously. I'm not just going to sit on my ass when I have no first hand experience. I literally delve right in. Oh, okay. So, yeah, I'm going to continue now. Um, let's see. Let me try to find good examples. Yeah, another good examples. I'm not gonna go through the entire Goetia, of course. I'm just gonna list a couple of examples. Example is Mr. Number Three. Mr. Three mentioned in the Goetia. One that I also have a good deal of experience with. He says hi, Vasago. The third spirit is a mighty prince, being of the same nature as Agaris. He is called Fasago. The spirit is of a good nature. This spirit is of a good nature, and his office is to declare things past and to come and to discover all things hid or lost. And he governeth 26 legions of spirits, and this is his seal. Blah 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 blah. Um, um, I'm sorry. A new comment on my video distracted me, ladies and gentlemen. Just give me a second. I'll check out that comment in a second. Yeah. So yeah, we don't have to go over the same thing again, okay? Mighty Prince, bullshit. You can disregard title. 26 Legions of Spirits, also disregard that. For the rest, nothing else is mentioned about Fasago. Fasago is relatively quiet, just a seal has been given. It's not mentioned how he appears. Fasago's introduction is honestly quite short, or Fasago's description is quite short. Just said that he's of the same nature as Agaris, so people automatically assume that he looks like Agaris too, or that he assumes the same form that is mentioned is for Agaris, an old fair man riding upon a crocodile, carrying a ghost shank upon his fist, and yet mild in appearance. Again, bullshit. Appearances are also subjective as a whole, so yeah, that's bullshit. Spirits do have general appearances that they take, but in the Goetia, a good deal of these appearances are bullshit. Okay. In Fasago's case, I've already done a thingy of Fasago. I've already done an article and a video on Fasago, which is also very popular. Hold on, let me just, this is example number 2. Let me just go over my thingy, my article on Fasago. Working with Fasago. I started working with the Guerrero Spirit Fasago in October 2016 and I've decided to stop with him due to the fact that I want to limit the amount of spirits that I work with on a daily basis. I work with him for solving missing persons cases, and as the Grimoire, the Goetia says, he is skilled in finding missing, lost, and hidden things, including people. So hence that, he immediately and swiftly came to the second. He immediately and swiftly came the second I even contemplated working with him. Fasago is lunar in nature, so corresponds to the moon, 2 degrees in Cancer. Therefore, he is adept at all things psychic and of a clairvoyant nature. There's not a lot of data and information on him out there as I have searched before starting with him extensively online, but only found 1 or 2 entries. He led me to my goal towards or via astrology, and when that did not yield results in the way I wanted, he sent me to a local seer that I was acquainted with. That unfortunately did not work out too in the way I wanted. He told me that this is grand and heavy work, as finding missing people is no joke, and if I want the exact details on these cases, then I will have to give him more energy via rituals and gifts. He's the one that introduced me to mental/telepathic communication with spirits during ritual instead of saying things aloud. Fasago is timid in nature and will not speak unless he really feels like doing so. Keeps himself in the background, but is very observant and sees practically everything going on. He became more vocal after I gave him the first pinnacle of the moon as a gift and other items over time, and revealed himself to me. I dislike the fact that people attach the same shape that the Goetic spirit Agaris takes to Fasago, as that is not at all the case. Before Vasago showed himself to me, he drained some of my life's energy to speed our work along. The downside of this is that I almost fainted behind the altar. I closed off and went to lie down. My mind was blank when I did so, as I tried to stabilize my body. And that is when, while my eyes were closed, I saw a man in a white background. He looked Arab, wearing a robe and holding a golden staff with an obsidian ball and other times normal ball at the end, dressed in violet/purple and reddish/orange clothing. He was floating and had no feet I was happy since I was like, finally he showed himself to me. His voice is old manish sometimes, and other times like a normal middle-aged man. The other shape Fasago has taken with me is that of an African man wearing traditional African clothing, etc., etc. I will admit that I'll miss him, prioritize, and so on. I worked with him for 7 months. Fasaga does have pagan roots, but told me that he would rather not discuss that with me. And honestly, I do not care much for that either. The African appearance was in his own words because he has ties to Africa. He has only showed me this form 2 times. He's also more active at night for obvious reasons, since he's a lunar spirit. And I also remember the video, yeah, in which I discussed it. Okay, and when I really delved into the matter, Fasago told me that he was a water and a fertility god, or a moon god and a water god. In any case, he was a water god, or similar to that. And he was worshipped for 200 to 250 to 300 years by a civilization similar to the Babylonians. That's why he appears that way. He appears basically, a lot of these pagan gods appear as their followers, obviously, an idealistic version of their followers. And the reason that you can't find him in any historical text, so nothing, no Wikipedia entry on him, he isn't mentioned in any pantheon, is because they deliberately removed him from all of those things as a means of erasing him from existence. They simply thought ill of him at some point, and similar. Last but not least, I also need to point out that Fasago also, it looks like Fasago also takes another form of a more well-dressed man, so without turban and so on. Let's just say the modern version of someone in Kuwait or so on. In any case, someone with curly hair, but well-groomed and so on. Someone Persian, let me put it that way. Oh, it's been ages since I've seen Fasago. The only reason he appeared is because I spoke of him standing beside me, but he's already gone. He says, thanks for the mention, blah, blah, blah. And so on. So yeah, that is example number 3. So that's simply something that you need to keep in mind. Based on this, it's also another stupid assumption that people make, is that the Goetia is filled with demons. The 72 demons of the Goetia, of the Key of Solomon, they're not fucking demons, okay? Some of them are pagan gods, some of them are infernal spirits. So yes, you can label them loosely demons. And it just goes on, okay? So don't even bother. Someone that really knows the Goetia will know of this. Oh, let's see, what else did I have to mention? I'm going to read again from the chat bar. The container and content says, do you no longer use the lesser banishing rituals of the pentagram and hexagram anymore? Your patron takes care of keeping your aura and astral body safe and healthy and clears out negative spirits? Yes. Lazaro LG, I'm currently writing a journal about I don't do it anymore. So obviously I have him. He does everything. The spirits that I work with do everything. Primarily my beloved Samael does everything. Lazaro LG, I'm currently writing a journal about everything interesting that's been happening lately, and catching you live once again will be added in, of course. Yeah, sure, no problem. Anytime. Jason Dunn is asking me what my favorite grimoire is. It's a good question. What is my favorite grimoire? Do I even have a favorite grimoire? Yeah, I'd have to say not really grimoire. In terms of if I really had to list favorite grimoires, I'd say that the first one is the Ars Paulina Part 1. Reason is it combines all the things I love, astrology with angelic magic, and I love angels. Angels are number 1 for me. And that would be my favorite grimoire. And the second favorite would not be the grimoire, a grimoire. It would be the encyclopedia of the Dictionary of Angels that I read out of in yesterday's live stream, or the day before yesterday. I couldn't. It's hard to keep track of time. In any case, a Dictionary of Angels, yeah, by Gustav Davidson. The one that I read a couple of angels out of. That is my second favorite book. If I had to label anything a favorite. Lazarology says, does you journaling your life help you in your occult work? Journaling as in writing stuff in a diary and so on? No, I don't do anything like that. It's all up here. I can remember everything more or less. All the things that are worth remembering in any case. Jason Dunn says, when inquiries are made about the spirits, what you say, they begin to take notice. For example, having a discussion about them, feeling our intentions, etc. Yeah, of course, like I said, all I have to do is just briefly think about a spirit, and that spirit will appear. All the spirits that I've discussed, Baal, Fasago, all of them, you know, all of them just appear here. Pop. Jason Dunn wants the link to that book again. You'd love to read it. You're referring to A Dictionary of Angels by Gustav Davidson. Just give me a second. I'll share the link with you. There you go. It's the link that leads to the paperback version on Amazon. I'm sorry, it's a link that leads simply to it online, period. Okay, to the Google search result. You can buy this book online. Sorry. You can buy this book online. So yeah, there you go. That's the link. Knock yourself out, Jason. Basically, the author has really gone all out, FYI. He's inserted practically every angel known to man, documentedly or otherwise, in that book. So you can literally look up angels by name, in alphabetical order, alphabetically sorted. Clark Dennis says, "Hi, Murno, your opinion about smoking weed?" I have no opinion on it. Smoking weed, it's not for me. I don't do drugs, and I don't use heavy alcohol. I have a high tolerance for alcohol, and I can drink every now and then, but I'm a social drinker. I drink during festivities and events and whatnot. But generally speaking, I refrain from drugs altogether. I don't even smoke. I think it's a disgusting habit, let alone smoking weed. Gregory M says, thanks for the link, no problem. And Clark Dennis, I have no, when it comes to using alcohol, heavy alcohol, I also have no desire to do so. I refrain from drugs and alcohol, generally speaking, because they are hazardous to occultists or people that have clairvoyant faculties in general. So I advise others to do the same thing, generally speaking, unless you've noticed that it has an adverse effect and that you're able to do your thing occult-wise a lot more and a lot better, then yeah, knock yourself out. Yeah, there was something that briefly distracted me, people. Someone commented on my working with Lucifer video 2 minutes ago. That was the email sound that you heard pop up. I honestly don't know how to reply to this, so I'm gonna reply. I'm gonna read it for you guys. Someone called Andrea Guerrero has commented on that working with Lucifer video. Visually and honestly, I don't like the background. It looks like it is stabbing you. Okay. And I'm gonna add the don't know emoji. I'm just gonna shrug my shoulders. I have no idea what to do with that information. Or with such a statement. It looks like it's stabbing me. You're too sensitive. Why are you watching YouTube videos to begin with? I mean, why are you watching videos on occult subjects to begin with then? If something as easy as that scares you, this girl thinks that she's of the opinion that it was in that video with Lucifer that I introduced those 3 Solomonic swords in the background. That was my Lord Samael's altar, but she doesn't like it. He says it looks like it's stabbing me. Okay. So yeah, David B and Jason Dunn say, "LOL." They're laughing. Yeah, I'm also giggling. I don't know what to do with that information. So yeah, you guys can see firsthand how I reply. You guys can see for yourself what my replying habits are. I'll reply, and I'll reply immediately. I'm sharp like a tack. I'm as sharp as a tack like that. So yeah, pretty much done with the Goetia. Paimon is also pagan, and so on and so forth. There's nothing else really. even the four kings in the back, Amaimon and so on. I've also worked with these guys. Egen is in the final draft of spirits that I work with. He's one of my financial boosters. Amaimon greeted me this morning while I was still half asleep. Let me see. Whom else did I cover? Let me see, because I have difficulty finding it. All right. These 72 kings be under the power of Amaimon, Korshon, Zimimai, or Ziminar, and Goa. I'm familiar with Amaimon. The rest I haven't checked out because the rest just doesn't appeal to me. Okay, but that's okay. So yeah, that is it on the Guecha. Yeah, that looks like it was. I mean, that is pretty much it regarding the Guecha. So things to keep in mind regarding the Guecha are disregard the titles, disregard the legions that they rule over, disregard the stupid notion that they're all demons, disregard the appearances, and that's all. And you'll be better off for it. Okay. That's it. For the rest, you also need to take their attributes with a grain of salt. Okay, because their attributes can also be wrong, very, very wrong. They can be completely untrue. But yeah, of course, someone that's just too stupid, some kind of snowflake, wannabe occultist or wannabe magician, is obviously going to take everything at face value and just says, okay, I'll just summon Baal because I want to become invisible. Nope. Okay, and now I'm going to head on over to the chat section again. Occult experience says, I would reply, I don't like your face. It looked like it's stabbing me. Nah, she's not ugly. So I'm going to refrain from saying that. Jason Dunn says, ridiculous to be honest. Kukun House says, greetings, Morino. Hello. Now that was hilarious. Yes, that was. For me, it wasn't so much hilarious as it was a what the fuck thing. You know, my reaction was, what the fuck? When I clicked on that email while talking to you guys, I was like, huh? Because I get an email preview with 2 lines or so, and I was like, huh? I don't like your thingy background. It's stabbing. So what the fuck? What kind of stupid person comments something like that? And I was about to comment. I mean, I thought it was a guy first, and I thought that person said something else. Otherwise, I would have said, then why the fuck are you watching my video? Don't watch it. Fuck off. That's literally how I would have commented. Oh, Clark Dennis says, I mean, occult spies. A lot of people claim to be more in tune for divinations and every other occult working well on marijuana. Yeah, like I said, you already have my answer regarding that. Okay, like I said, you knock yourself out. But generally speaking, no. Drugs and alcohol are destructive to anyone that has clairvoyant faculties. For some exceptional cases, it does the exact opposite, depending on the kind of drug. If it's something herbal, like ayahuasca or something, then yes, it can put you in a heightened state of mind, and thereby canceling out your physical body and thereby making it easier, or putting your body in a dormant state, your physical one, and making it easier thereby to communicate with communicating with spirits. Jason Dunn says, oh, please cover viewer. You want me to cover viewer? I have an article on viewer. You'll have all the information you want there, Jason Dunn. Hold on for a second. Viewer. Where are you, viewer? There you go. Motherfucker. Here you go. That's the link to the article on viewer, Jason. Again, knock yourself out. You also say, to be honest, your altar setup is brilliant. I love the swords. Yeah, thanks. Most people love it, okay? Practically everyone has told me, oh my God, I love your thing. Your swords are so beautiful. Where'd you get those swords? Blah, 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 blah. But yeah, you're always going to have, one bad egg that ruins it. David B is asking me, is there any spirit from Grimoire you would never summon? No, I'm open to summoning any spirit. Nothing would scare me or intimidate me. Lazaro LG says, I'd love to stay and chat, but I have old friends to meet up with. Keep up the good work. Okay, bye. See you around. See you around, Lazaro LG. Yeah, sorry, Jason. I would cover viewer too, but I'm already done with the Goichi. I already closed off the Grimoire. I don't feel like opening it up again. So you can just read the article for viewer. And the Goichi was just an example. I just the spirits that I listed were just examples in order to make my point as a whole in terms of the Goichi. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna take a quick minute to take in any comments. Does anyone have anything else to say regarding the Goetia or regarding that girl that just commented on my YouTube video or anything that we've discussed up to this point? I'll give you guys a minute to comment. If no one has anything else to say, then I'm just going to move on to a next grimoire or similar. To another grimoire, I mean. Jason Dunn says, I love your neutral point of view with the spirits. Very good. Yeah, thanks. No one has anything else to say. Occult Experience is asking me, have I ever encountered a spirit that's not mentioned in any grimoire? Yes, I have. And not just that, I have summoned plenty of spirits that aren't mentioned in any grimoire. And these spirits, generally speaking, are almost better than spirits in grimoires because they come closer to what you're looking for. I don't know if you were listening to yesterday's live stream or the day before that, but it's a piece, long story short, it's a piece on planetary magic. And you can simply petition a planet or a zodiac sign, even, or an element to send you a spirit that suits your desires and needs the most. In any case, I have had spirits that have approached me because they wanted to work with me. One of them, which is in my final draft, the Lunar Angel Miraqua, he's not mentioned in any grimoire. Miraqua, he's the last. He's one of the default spirits that I work with and that I'll be working with permanently. He's also one of my financial boosters. And yeah, if you want to read all about him, just look for him on my website, just Miraqua. Let me just give you the name for you, Miraqua. Yeah. And yeah, that's it. That's I have met other spirits too, but there's no need to go into that. I also had a gnome once, so an earth elemental that approached me because he wanted to work with me, called Knompf, Knompf. But I only worked with him for a short while. I didn't work with him long. That was last year. Clark Dennis is asking me, have I read Franz Bardon's Grimoire? And if not, do you plan to check it out in the future? I've read Franz Bardon's Grimoire, but I'm of the opinion that the material is outdated. Jason Dunn also asked me such a question, I think a couple of thingies ago. A live stream or two ago, something like that. So yeah. So again, I'm giving you guys a second. In a minute, I'll be moving on to a next grimoire. If anyone has any other questions to ask relating to everything I spoke about or that I discussed up to this point, then mention it now or forever hold your peace. And your opinion about spirits from his book, Clark Dennis. Again, I have no opinion on it. I'm neutral towards the spirit mentioned in his book. David B. Asking me, I'm of the opinion that French grimoire is not well made or otherwise. No, I just said the grimoire is fine, but it's just that it's not. It's also out of date by today's standards. Franz Bardon, I think he was one of the first guys that introduced the modern version of ceremonial magic. But like I said, like most of the authors that wrote books back then, these all of these books pretty much are outdated in the sense that they have a lot of baggage and there are small mistakes or errors here or there, you name it, minor errors and whatnot. That's my opinion on Francis Grimoire. Of course, it was still it was still the bomb. It was the shit for back when it was released. But we're talking about decades ago, I think. Even Modern Magic, for example, was published when? In the 90s, I think. And that was what, 20 years ago? Before 2009 is 10 years ago. 1999 was 20 years ago, and it was before that. So, what, 25 years ago or something? So, it's safe to say that this stuff is hopelessly outdated. Code 919 says, Hi, Moreno. Hello to you too. Welcome to the stream. We're discussing Grimoire thingy as the description states. We're simply discussing grimoires. I'm discussing grimoires. I've just covered the Goetia, and I've given people things to keep in mind analysis wise. Long story short, disregard the titles of the spirit mentioned in the Goetia because it's bullshit. Kings, presidents, and all that crap, Duke. Disregard their legions and disregard the stupid notion that they're all demons. Only newbies believe stuff like that, or people that don't know any better. So yeah, that's where we're at pretty much. David B is asking me, are there any recent grimoires except EA Querings? Yeah, you have a couple of unknown authors that write grimoires, but it's either a rehashing of old material or similar. But I haven't come across anyone that has updated anything or similar. No, no, no. The continuing content says, do you feel it's of value to practice sexual abstinence or semen retention for retaining your power or life force? Um, I personally do not. For starters, I have a strong sex drive, a very strong sex drive. And secondly, it's not worth it. I looked into it a year or so ago and I was like, hey, is abstinence, well, abstinence, after reading somewhere online, just a general article that a guy stopped masturbating he just stopped masturbating and everything went better for him. Everything increased. We're talking about his senses increased, not occult wise, just overall. He could study better, he could do a lot of things better, and his focus increased and all of that. And I checked to see what abstaining from sex would do for me, but I said to myself, no, it's not worth it because I tried it for a short while, let's just say close to a month or so, but I didn't really notice anything in the way of differences. And besides, my own divinatory readings told me that results would be good, but not tremendous. But all in all, I weighed it all together, and no, it was not worth it. It was simply not worth it. Um, Clark Dennis is asking me, okay, outdated, but what about those spirits? He calls them elders of planets. What do you think they are? Egregores, real souls, dead people? I have no idea. I don't remember the spirits from Franz Bardon's book. I just remember the outline of Bardon's book vaguely on how to perform evocations and all of that. Code 919 is saying EA querying looks too mainstream. Maybe that's why he is looked down upon. No, EA querying is looked down upon and he's hated by the rest of occultists, by the other people in the occult community. He's kind of like their laughing stock, or they're trying to turn him into a laughing stock. They even had they even had a Facebook page called EA querying memes. I don't know. I think that this was their way of punishing him. It's simply because they despise querying simply because he sensationalizes the material, and he almost, if you want to state it, he turns it into a joke. And I he turns it into a joke. Yeah, David B says EA querying memes, lol, I need to check it out. Yeah, they had a Facebook page. I don't know if it's still up. They had a Facebook page with a bunch of memes that they made after him. And some of these memes, to be honest, were funny. I'm not gonna lie. Some of them were funny. I guess they just don't like it that someone is. I guess I don't know. The only valid argument that someone would be able to give someone that hates him is that he's making a mockery of real occultists and whatnot. For me, I don't care honestly. EA Querying can do whatever the hell he wants. That's his problem. I mean, it's his life, his problem, his deal. But last time I checked, this was years ago. Everything was going well for Querying. Last time I checked, he had his own website, Become a Living God. It was a forum. I was a member there, and you had a lot of visitors, but that was in a time that I was still active in forums, and I briefly left after a good while. Occult experiences. I worked with one of EA spirits, and the results were great. Yeah, exactly. My point exactly. I'm assuming you were already around when I said so. You were present since the beginning of the live streams. So yeah, that's my point. I have worked with EA querying spirits. I've worked with Salashash from the Book of Flames or one of Azazel spirits, the Book of Azazel. I have. I have worked with whom else? Can't think of any other person, but yeah, just as an example, Salashas did great for me. I'm not gonna lie. He's a mercurial spirit. He falls under Azazel. He does great. He's a lot like Clownek. He has a lot in common with Clownek. But let's just say he's the Gemini version where Clownek is Virgo. So yeah, again, I've told people that numerous times before. Even the Black Sun exercise that I have is an article on my website and also a video that I did upon it. That Black Sun exercise, EA Covering was the one that introduced me to it. So yeah, I honestly, Covering does just fine. I don't care what Covering does in his own personal life. They also wanted to smear him a while. They by telling people that he's a carpet cleaner in reality. And as far as I know, that was indeed the case. He runs a carpet cleaning company, and he has a van with I forgot his real name, what E. Cohen's real name is, Anthony Michael or something like that. And yeah, that's what it's called, something along the lines of Anthony Michael's carpet cleaning business. Honestly, I literally do not care because that's just stupid for judging someone based on what he does for a living. I don't care what he does. I don't care about what E.A. Quering does in his spare time. I don't care whether he is gay or whether he's straight, whether he's bisexual, whether he's transgender. I don't care what he does. That doesn't matter, nor should it ever matter. The only thing matters is whether his work is credible, and it is, period. It's credible at least up to a certain extent. Occult experience says Matthew. Yeah, his name is Matthew, first name. Code 919 is asking me, can you show the magic book collection that you have? Not really. I can't show it to you. I can't show it to you, otherwise I'd have to record my own screen, and I can't do that simultaneously while live streaming. I'll try to see if I can get something done. I'm sorry, I have too many books. I have too many books. So I just can't show you. In total, I have 46 PDFs worth half a gigabyte. And most of them are just well-known grimoires, or well-known magical workbooks and so on. That's it. Gregory M says, when you say disregard Legion in the Goetia, what do you mean by that? Does it mean they don't have legions under them, or is the error in the count? No, by saying disregard them, I'm saying that it's not really important or relevant to your intentions. If you work with a spirit, let's be honest, what does it matter how many spirits that spirit has under him or her? It doesn't really matter whether it be millions or tens or just thousands. I mean, whether it be millions or thousands, hundreds of thousands, or just 10. What does it matter? It's not relevant to what you want to do. So I'd advise you to not focus on that. Code 919 is asking me, are they still stalking you? Who is stalking me? Who are you referring to? Yeah, I'm gonna give you guys a minute, literally a minute more. Then I'm gonna hop on over to another grimoire. Code 919 is asking me my parents. No, I already discussed that yesterday in the live stream. Okay, I already said no, so yeah. I'm assuming that you were also online, so you didn't miss it, did you? The entire live stream yesterday was about that. David B says, I thought it meant the strength. For example, if a spirit had 40k legions and 100k legions would be stronger. So the one that has 100k legions would be stronger. No. Again, like I said, it all depends, okay? And even then, power isn't everything. It's not all about power. A spirit can be as powerful as you want to be, but it doesn't matter if that spirit's power is not applied correctly. And honestly, it does not really matter in the sense that a magician, generally speaking, cannot summon or call upon more energy from a spirit than he is capable of absorbing into his own being. So even if a spirit has the strength of 20 million men, you'll only be able to draw upon one or two people's strength worth. You'll only be able to draw upon the strength of one or two people because your astral body and you as a being as a whole cannot handle more than that. Otherwise, you'll explode like a balloon. Boom. Okay, you're saying now, yeah, you've realized that pretty quickly. Okay. Now you know, in any case. Code 919 says I missed the telecast, but I've seen it later until you ask for questions. Yeah, you need to watch the entire live stream, otherwise you're going to miss bits and pieces. And to be fair and honest, that's not on topic today. So I'd much rather not start that topic up again since I already talked about it in its so-called glory yesterday. So yeah. Okay, I am going to hop on over to another grimoire. Let me see. Another grimoire, a well-known grimoire. Yeah, hold on. I'm going to discuss my favorite one. Ah, motherfucker. Where's that fucking grimoire again? Huh? Hold on for a second. Oh, right. Right. Let me see. Open Sesame. Open PDF. Open. Okay, yeah, let's begin. The Ars Paulina, or the Pauline Arts, Part 1. Transcribed from Sloan and converted to Acrobat format by Benjamin Rowe in June 1999. Afterward, copyright 1999, also by Benjamin Rowe. Ars Paulina, here beginneth yea book called the Art Pauline of Solomon the King. And this is divided into two parts. The first, the angels of the hours of the day and night. The second, the angels of the signs of the zodiac. As hereafter follow it. The nature of the 24 angels of the day and night change it every day, and their offices is to do all things that is attributed to the 7 planets, but that change it every day also. As for example, you may see in the following treatise is that the angel Samael ruleth the first hour of the day. Shout out to my Lord Samael. Beginning at sun rising, supposing it to be on a Monday, in the first hour of the day that is attributed to the moon, and you call Samael or any of his dukes, their offices is in that hour is to do all things that is attributed to the moon. But if you call him or any of his servant dukes on a Tuesday morning at sunrise, being the first hour of the day, their offices is to do all things that is attributed to Mars, and so the like rule is to be observed in the first hour of every day, and the like is to be observed of the angels and the servants that ruled any of the other hours, either in the day or night. Also, again, there is an observation to be observed in making the seals of the 24 angels according to the time of the year, day and hour that you call the angel or his servants in to do your will, but you cannot mistake therein. If you do, but observe the example that is laid down in the following word, they being all fitted for the 10th day of March, being on a Wednesday in the year 1641 according to the old account. And to know what is attributed to the 7 planets, I do refer you to the books of astrology, whereof large volumes have been written. When the seal is made according to the formal directions laid upon the table of practice, upon that part of the table that it notes with the character that is the Lord of the Ascendant is, lay your hand on the seal and say the conjuration that is at the latter end of this third part for the source of all, only changing the names according to the time you work. Oh, crap, it's a mouthful. Yeah, and I'm immediately going to jump into the afterword for reasons that you'll see in a second. Uh, hold up. Yeah, there you go. The text and diagram afterward by the editor. The text and diagrams of this book were taken directly from a copy of Sloane's manuscript 2731. The handwriting in this section was small and cramped, even in comparison with the rest of the manuscript. It's very difficult to distinguish between the copyists' O, E, and A's. Thus, there is some variation from other published editions in the name of various angels. They are as accurate as I can make them given the state of the original materials. Punctuation marks and capitalization are virtually non-existent in the manuscript, particularly in the parts describing the individual angels and the subordinates. The punctuation in this edition represents my own best guess as to how the run-on strings of words are divided into sentences. The Ars Paulina is in one way the most sophisticated of the books of the Lemegeton. That's simply the Lesser Key of Solomon. Unlike the other books, effective practice of its methods require a detailed knowledge of both mathematics and astronomy, possessed in those days only by those who could afford the full course of the traditional liberal arts education. As well, a tremendous amount of effort went into the preparations for any single operation of the art. Calculating a single astrological chart by hand without even the aid of a pre-calculated ephemeris could consume many hours. There is one flaw in this sophistication, and it appears in the first paragraph of the book. There, the author describes how the power governed by the angels ruling the dawn hour varies according to the day, lunar on Monday, martial on Tuesday, etc. Presumably, the angels of the remaining hours either govern the same power or follow something akin to the traditional Kabbalistic system of planetary hours, described in the Greater Key of Solomon and many other places. The problem with this is that the procedure described in the remainder of the book suggests an entirely different system is being used to determine the invoked powers. To create the seal for the angels of a particular hour, the magician first casts the astrological chart for that hour and the day the work is to be done. The planetary glyph to be drawn in the center of the seal is the planet ruling the sign on the ascendant of the chart. The glyph of the remaining planets are drawn counterclockwise around the rim of the seal, starting with the fastest planet and ending with the slowest. Finally, for reasons not explained, the sign that is on the cusp of the 12th astrological house is drawn in the center next to the ruler of the ascendant. Therefore, the planet emphasized in the seal may be different from the planet during the day of the week, ruling the day of the week. For example, the date of the author's examples fell on a Wednesday, but since Aries was rising at dawn, the central planet in the seal for that hour is Mars. The planet ruling the day only shows up in the seal when a sign it rules is rising at the beginning of an hour. To invoke the angel of the hour, the magician is instructed to lay the seal upon the table of practice, but he lays it upon the sigil of the planet ruling the rising sign, not upon the sigil of the planet ruling the day and the hour, according to the Kabbalistic system of hours. Further, the invocation used makes no mention of the Kabbalistic ruler of the day and hour. It does mention elements of the seals and also refers to the angel's rays. This term is frequently used in medieval documents when discussing the action of the planets on the world, but I have never seen it in use in relation to the Kabbalistic system of attributes. So every symbolic and operational element of this magic seems geared towards using the Lord of the Ascendant as the power ruling the hour. The preliminary mention of the ruler of the day with its implied reference to the Kabbalistic method of rulership is not supported by anything that comes afterward. Holy shit, such a fucking mouthful. I shouldn't be swearing when I'm reciting something like this. Just for good measure. Okay, one deep breath and yeah, the last part. For the seals shown in part 1 of the book, the author chose the date of his example carefully, March the 10th, 1641 in the old style calendar. According to the new account, is March 21st in the new style. The first full day after the spring equinox, this was no doubt done to ease the process of calculation, since this is only of This is one, since this is one of only 2 days during the year when the magical hours of the day and night are of equal length and are almost exactly one clock hour in length. At any other time of the year, the day and night hours are longer or shorter, and this would have made the process of calculating the astrological charts for each hour rather more tedious and error prone. Even so, it seems that he made a few small errors in his calculations, which show up in the example seals. A modern magician with the assistance of a good computer and astrology software can easily avoid this. Yeah, I did so too. The author calculated his charts for the date specified and for a place at approximately the latitude of London, England. Comparing his seals with calculated charts for that date, it appears that he used a system of house calculations resembling the old meridian or periphery systems. The Placidus house system, more commonly used today, produces results substantially different from those shown in the seals. It should also be noted that despite the assertion of one commentator on his book, the author used a tropical precession-adjusted zodiac for his trout calculations, not any version of a sidereal or constellation-oriented zodiac. The example seals can only be produced if the tropical zodiacs is used. Benjamin Rowe, June the 22nd, 1999. That is it. Oh, holy crap. Now, let me know, guys, was that not long or was it not long? Holy crap. Oh, it's so much to take in. In any case, this is the grimoire. This is the reason I became a magician. This is this is the reason I became an astrologer. Okay. This is I almost want to swear again. I need to refrain from swearing. This is the reason, the effing reason that I became an astrologer. As you can tell, it's so, or as you, yeah, as you can tell or see, it is ridiculously complicated. The Ars Paulina Part 1. The name of the book is the Ars Paulina Part 1. The Pauline Art Part 1. It's divided into Part 1 and Part 2, but I'm discussing Part 1 right now. Part 1 is also what I realistically went at. Let me go to my thingy. Uh, okay, hold on for a second. Yeah, I need to consult my own article and I have it in front of me. Yeah, it's yeah, like I said, I almost have a headache from just reading the introduction and so on. But yeah, long story short, this is the Ars Paulina Part 1. It is a traditional grimoire for those of you that are unfamiliar with it. It's a traditional grimoire similar to the Goetia, but it involves you summoning the angels that rule the hours of each day. There is a difference between man-made hours and real hours or occult hours. Man-made hours, as we all know it, is simply the system, a clock-based system, 24-hour based system that we divide into day and night, and for us, the new day starts at midnight. Whereas in reality, okay, occult-wise, that is not the case. Um, a day begins with sunset, so at dawn. Whenever the sun rises, that's the beginning of a new day in reality. And that's also the case occult-wise and occult speaking. And the day ends at sunset, and then night begins, and of course, the cycle continues itself. Things to keep in mind is that only in a certain specific time of year, at a certain time of year, I don't know how long exactly, whether it's a month or so, are occult hours almost equal to thingy hours. Only then are occult hours equal to clock hours. Um, Only then are occult hours equal to clock hours. For the rest of the year, if you know how to work with this system, this grimoire, and how to calculate occult hours, you'll see that they're vastly different. I understand completely. Listen, we as human beings made that system because it is more practical. Occult hours are impractical and inconvenient because in reality, okay, one occult hour is only 15 minutes long. For example, at sunrise, okay, the first hour of the day begins, and that first hour is only half an hour long. And then you have the second hour of the day, and that second hour is 3 hours long, 3 clock hours long. So you can imagine what it's like. Okay, it is. Imagine what it would be like setting your watch to that, or if even watches are capable of being invented that way, that realistically display what hours in reality are like. And this grimoire simply involves, or this grimoire conveys that each hour of every day has a ruler, an angelic ruler, and you can therefore summon the ruler or one of his subordinates that falls under him, including my beloved Lord Samael, um, provided that you do all things correct. And examples have been given. Okay, for example, the rulers are decided obviously by planet. The seven classical planets: the sun rules Sunday, the moon rules Monday, Mars rules Tuesday, and so on. And for example, when on a Tuesday at sunrise, that's the first hour of the day, that is when the ruler of the hour is Mars, and you can then summon my Lord Samael or any of his subordinates, and they'll do everything by example that is associated with the nature of Mars. So destroying someone, defending yourself from attacks, clearing up haunted houses, all things of an offensive or defensive nature. And it just goes on. Okay, for example, if the first hour ends, then Mars is done, despite the fact that Mars still rules the day as a whole. And then, for example, Mercury rules the second hour. And you can summon other angels then, or you can summon my Lord Samael too, or any of his subordinates, but they'll do things then, or you can ask them things relating to the nature of Mercury. Okay, so anything Gemini wise or Virgo wise, anything that involves working on the things on the working floor, communications, things of a daily nature, education, studying, blah 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 blah, studying simple subjects, and it just goes on. I think you guys all get the gist of it. That's what the grimoire is like. And as the editor himself said, you require advanced knowledge of astrology and mathematics. And this is the reason I became an astrologer. Back then I didn't even know what an ascendant was. I was like, what the fuck's an ascendant? Oh, I did it again. Oh god, I need to stop swearing. What's an ascendant? I just couldn't cope. I was like, no, I really want to work with this, but I just can't. I'm gonna have to learn astrology. And I simply committed to learning astrology. And the second I saw what astrology is by definition, I was like, okay, boom. Even if I don't care, regardless of whether this grimoire comes into the equation or not, I love this thing already. And I need to master it. And boom, I mastered it in 3 weeks, specifically natal astrology. But it was enough. Natal astrology in itself was enough. I knew what planets were, I knew what zodiac signs were, I knew what an ephemeris was, I knew what the ascendant was, what the midheaven was, and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, it involves also making a table of practice. It's just a huge table. And you need to draw all the planets on it in their aligning. You just need to draw all the planets on it. Okay, I was gonna say that you need to draw them in their correct colors, but that's not necessary. I did that in real life, but it's not necessary. It's just for that was just for good measure, for me being a perfectionist and all. And and you need to simply mimic the table of practice as is given in the grimoire. It has a bunch of weird symbols. These symbols are undoubtedly similar to seals that are beneficial to the powers that you'll be invoking or summoning. So yeah, you need a table with all of those drawings on it. Drawings look like pentacles, honestly, a bit almost like um, almost like um, almost like seals or Hebrew letters, but they're not Hebrew letters as far as I can tell. So yeah, you need to create all of the 6 planets on it, and the sun is in the middle with with the hexagram outside the sun. So the sun is literally in the middle part of a hexagram, and all the other planets are around it, touching each point. It's simply a focus on the fact, astrologically speaking or astronomically speaking, that all the other planets revolve around the sun. So yes, it is beautiful if you understand the definition of it. And I caught on pretty quickly for the reason for why that drawing was configured the way it was. And how it works is like the author says, you need to simply calculate planetary hours in the sense of, hey, listen, today is Tuesday. The sun will come up at 7:30 local time AM. So the second the sun comes up at 7:30, the day starts, and you need to you can carry out an operation regarding to Mars. And how it works is that you need to create a seal, and a seal simply contains a planet, and for example, the planet that rules that day, and a zodiac sign with the remaining planets around it in terms of speed, how fast they move. So, for example, if you were to work on Tuesday in the first hour, of course, Mars needs to be in. The seal is comprised of two rings, one inner ring, one outer ring. In the inner ring, you need to create you need to write down the seal. All of these are symbol wise. Okay, you need to write down the symbol, or you need to draw the symbol of that planet with the zodiac sign, as I remember it, that rules the 12th house. So you need to be familiar with house cusps. Even for those of you that aren't familiar with house cusps, a house cusp in astrology is simply a line that serves as a border between houses. So, for example, the 12th house cusp is the last line that is between the 11th and the 12th house before you come towards the ascendant. The ascendant itself is also a house cusp, but it's the first house cusp. That's how you can see the ascendant. That's what a cusp is. A cusp is simply a border, and even these cusps, CUSPS, are ruled by zodiac signs. So, for example, if Aquarius ruled the 12th house cusp in the first hour, then you need to write in the inner circle symbol of Mars, Aquarius as a symbol, of course, and then you're done with your inner circle. And in your outer circle, you need to calculate all the planets after Mars that are the quickest. Okay, for example, the Moon is the quickest planet. After that, Mercury. After that, Venus. After that. Let me see. The Moon, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars, of course. I'm missing one. And the Sun, of course, yeah. So, for example, the Moon, the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, in that order. So you need to literally calculate in that hour which planet is the fastest and which one is the slowest, or something equivalent to that, as I remember it. And then you need to draw all of that counterclockwise in the outer ring of your seal, and that is what an Ars Paulina seal looks like, a Pauline seal looks like. And then you need to simply place the seal on Mars. You need to place your hand on it, and you need to simply read the citation. And you also need to have a crystal ball present, one that's pure crystal, preferably not glass or anything, any other crap, just pure crystal. And it needs to be present on the table. And how it works, if everything goes according to plan, is that the angel that you summoned will appear in that crystal ball, and you simply need to greet him and tell him what you desire, what your wishes are, and he'll give you the details on these wishes, and he'll disappear. Boom, basta. That's the theory behind it. In any case, I undertook this operation. This was my only, as far as I can remember, this was the only time when I extensively undertook a traditional grimoire operation. Those of you that are interested seriously in it, there you go. The link is in the chat bar to the link to my article on the Ars Paulina Part 1. You'll see my own table there. It's a beautiful table. I love that table. It took me a ridiculous amount of time to make, because I had to do everything perfect. So I did everything in one day, but afterwards I was completely beat. I was tired and sweating and everything, because I had to literally concentrate and focus everything I had. Every cent of my concentration went towards drawing everything perfectly. And if you consult the article, you'll see for yourself that I have my own crystal ball on it, with a crystal ball holder and a stand, and I drew all the planets in their corresponding colors: black for Saturn, orange for Mercury, the hexagram and the sun in gold and yellow, red for Mars, green in Venus, blue in Jupiter, and violet or gray for the moon. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much how the Ars Paulina works. Again, really consult the article if you would like to know everything about it. And also watch the video. It's also a very popular video. A lot of people watch my thing, my Ars Paulina video, as well as the article. And yeah, that's pretty much how the grimoire works in theory. Of course, in reality, there's much more to it that isn't mentioned in the grimoire. But that's basically the analysis of this grimoire. Okay, David B on a related question. David B is asking me how much if I remember how much I paid for that table. It was a custom made table because round tables are not common here because they're also impractical. The table that I requested to be made was kind of like a medieval kind of table, kind of like a King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table thing. It was, I don't know, I think it was a meter and a half in diameter or 2 meters in diameter. It was a big table and it was literally heavy as fuck too. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna swear. I'm not gonna, no. I can't cope anymore. It was just heavy as fuck too, okay? And it took 2 people to lift. I myself couldn't lift it, otherwise I'd have to drag it. Um, and yeah, I just had that table made at a local thingy, uh, a company that makes or manufactures furniture. And yeah, I just had it made, a local wood store slash furniture store, and I told them exactly what I wanted, and they got to making it. In terms of how much I paid for it, $100 approximately, which is expensive. Like I said, the average person here makes that's half of someone's salary here, pretty much. So I paid $100 for it, American dollars. That's like 800 Surinamese dollars based on the local, the current exchange rate. So yeah, I had it made, and then I did the rest. I bought expensive paint. Unfortunately, they did not have. I bought high quality paint that has a glimmer to it. Unfortunately, they did not. They did not have orange in high quality, so that's why Mercury looks a bit shabby. So I was forced to just make do with water paint. So instead of oil paint, I had to make do with water paint. That's why Mercury does not look as nice as the rest. I hated it too, but there's nothing I could do. And I tried everything with this thing to make it work. I tried working with another person. I thought maybe I didn't have enough energy. I don't have enough energy to, to commit to this. I don't have enough energy to undertake this operation by myself. Back then, I still read grimoires where they work with someone else. For example, a scryer, where someone were to summon a spirit and the other person scribed. And as the saying goes, two heads are better than one. So I sought out people, and I did find 2 people, and I tried it with both of them. Used them as scryers, not literally as scryers. I just told them to, hey, just for extra support, just put your hand on mine while I recite the oration and blah blah blah. And it didn't work with any of them. Okay, one of them was just a guy, and the other was a girl, a woman, and that was it. And I said to myself, no, unfortunately, it does not work. So I'm going to set you aside. And I set it aside. Unfortunately, that table is not present anymore. It was thrown away. I threw it away when I moved from my 1 bedroom apartment into an actual house. And by that time, I had no need for the table anymore. The table was obsolete. I could not even sell it because I can't export stuff from Work Less Than Nothing Suriname. That's how Work Less Than Nothing Suriname is. I can't export shit. So yeah. So that was it for the Ars Paulina Part 1. That's in a nutshell, or better said, a big nutshell, what it contains and how it works. And one other thing that I need to mention too is that the editor also mentioned something, a mistake that I overlooked in the beginning. I said to myself, oh, okay, so that's why. Because none of my stuff made sense. My calculations didn't make sense when I made the astrological calculations on planets and zodiac signs and so on in order to make a seal. The editor also mentions this. Okay, they used to work with old calendars. I think what were they called again? Caesarean calendars or Gregorian calendars. Hold on, let me look up my thingy. I have an entire folder on the Ars Paulina one on my laptop. Hold up, just with things to keep in mind. I literally spoon fed myself by creating my own individual PDF document, but it's in Dutch, of course. Not of course, but it's in Dutch. I work in English, but still, back then I made it in Dutch. And I just literally walk myself through the entire process on how to make a seal, spoon feeding myself, telling myself exactly what I should do and how I should do it. Yeah. Regarding astrological house settings, the house system needs to be periphery, and zodiac settings needs to be on tropical in terms of house settings. Um, Let me see if there's anything else. Hold up for a second, guys. Let me see if there's anything else. Um, oh, right, there it is. Calendar types. I have it. Old style calendars were used. This is my own. These are my own notes back when I still did this. Of course, this was in 2014, 5 years ago. Look at that. In July, when I made this document for myself. Old style calendars were used before 1752, named Julian calendars, named after Julius Caesar. After this date, the modern calendar system that we use up to this date is being used, called the Gregorian system. The difference in between the two is 11 days. Also, the year began and ended on March the 25th instead of January the 1st we're used to. For example, as mentioned in the Ars Paulina Part 1, March the 10th, 1641, according to the old account, so Julius wise or Julian calendar, is March the 21st, 1641, Gregorian calendar. Another example that I gave myself, March the 30th, 1641, calculated or converted to the modern calendar system. So a year passing, March the 30th, 1642. So literally passing on to a next year is the equivalent of April the 10th, 1641. Yeah. And yeah, you can see for yourself, it is ridiculously complicated. Ridiculously complicated. I have an entire folder on my thingy, on my laptop devoted to that. I literally wrote everything for myself. Everything for myself, just so that I could keep track of everything. I literally have everything. I have an example of a seal here, table of practice. Yeah, I pretty much have everything. I'm gonna show you guys what a seal looks like. One of those seals that I'm referring to that you should make. Hold on for a second. I need to literally transfer this to my cell phone via OneDrive app. Just copy paste example of a seal. Convert quickly OneDrive. Process your changes quickly. Mother bugger. Come on, open up. Example of a seal. And let me take a look at the camera so I can see myself actually showing you guys the correct way. Yes, this is what it looks like. This is what a seal looks like. As you can see, Venus is in this seal's as an example. Venus is the ruler of the ascendant. Most likely Libra, either Taurus or Libra rule the ascendant, and therefore also Venus rules the ascendant. And you can see Pisces next to it. That means that the ruler of the 12th house was Pisces. So Pisces was ruling the 12th house cusps and the 12th house cusp, and therefore the 12th house. And for the rest, counterclockwise, you can see that you need to start up top and then work your way around counterclockwise. You have the moon, and counterclockwise is, yeah, you have the moon, you have Mercury, You have the Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn as an example. I'm good. One last look. See for yourself. See what I mean now? That's what I meant. Okay. Calculating the planets exactly and the zodiac sign that rules the 12th house, and afterwards the fastest planet leading all the way up counterclockwise to the slowest planet. By default, Saturn is the slowest planet. Of all the seven, Saturn is the slowest and the moon is the fastest. The moon moves. The moon changes zodiac signs at least once every day or once every 2 days. That's how fast the moon is. The moon moves 15 degrees, as far as I can remember it from my own studies, my own astrological studies. Approximately 14 to 15 degrees. So that means that the moon changes zodiac signs every 2 days on average, give or take an hour or two. And after that, you've got Mercury and so on, blah, blah. The Saturn is by default the slowest planet. Saturn is slow as fuck, okay? Saturn moves only 1 degree or something every week or so, or something like that, or even every month. Holy crap, Saturn is slow as hell. So yeah, you need to be familiar. You really need to be adept in astrology, okay, with this system. And not just that, you need to know what an ephemeris is. You need to know this. You need to know that. But of course, with astrological software, all of those difficulties are taken out of the equation. That's the beauty of using software and modern technology. The software does all of that stuff for you. A software has a built-in ephemeris. It has everything. So you literally just need to cast a chart. Okay, let's see. 7:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, tomorrow is Tuesday. Tomorrow is Tuesday. What? Who rules Tuesday? Let's see. Which sign is in the ascendant? So yeah, that's an example. I'm going to give you guys an example right now, just for clarity's sake. Today is Sunday, right? Yeah, today is Sunday. I'm just going to give you an example. Let's just say if I wanted to work right now in the hour, just an example. So today is Sunday, the 21st of July, 2019. At this very moment in my location, it is 11:43 a.m. So 17 minutes to noon. I'm in Paramaribo, Suriname, blah, blah, blah. Not taking the thingy, the house system and the zodiac sign settings into account because I have it by default set to Placidus and tropical. But if you assume that that's the case, the ruler of the ascendant is Libra. Libra is 15 degrees in the ascendant. So that means that Venus would be the ruler of this hour that we find ourselves in, or that I find myself in. Sorry, it's location based, of course. And the ruler of the 12th house cusp is Virgo, 14 degrees in Virgo. And yeah, that Virgo sign obviously would have to be next to Venus, and then you'd have the rest of the planets. You'd have to calculate the rest of the planets, how fast they are for the entire day by animating the chart. And by animating the chart, I mean is fast forwarding and rewinding it. You can do it with software. You can just fast forward like a movie or rewind it to whichever desired point you would like. So yeah, that is it on the Ars Paulina. As you can see, it's ridiculously complicated and it is very complex. I'm also going to read from the prayer for you. I'm not gonna read it entirely because it's too much. It's too much of a mouthful. No, 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 no. Way too much. So yeah. You can also alter this, the editor says, okay, to your own liking up to a certain point. So yeah. So yeah, let me just take care of this. Yeah. But even if you were not to, it's set as an example, but even if you were to just follow it down to the wire, if you were to not just adjust it in any way, shape, or form, it says the prayer, "Oh, thou great and blessed," and then the name of your angel guardian, for example, Samael. "Oh, great and blessed Samael, my angel guardian, vouchsafe to descend from thy holy mansion, which is celestial, with thy holy influence, And presence into this crystal stone, that I may behold thy glory and enjoy thy society, aid and assistance, both now and forever hereafter. O thou that art higher than the fourth heaven and knowest the secrets of Ilana, thou that ridest upon the wings of the wind and art mighty and potent in thy celestial and sublunary motion. And it just goes on like that. So you can imagine. It is beautiful, okay, if you were to read it. It is very beautiful. So yeah, that's how this operation works. You need to do all of that. Select the correct hour. You need to place your hand on the table on the correct planet. You need to have your correct seal, and then you need to say the oration addressing the correct angel, and that is it. And last but not least, I'm gonna read for you guys too what I'm just gonna list you an example. The author has given examples where he made seals. What I like to is that the hours of the day seem that the hours of the day have names. I'm going to give you an example. The second hour of the day is called Sovormi. The third hour of the day is called Danlor. The fourth hour of the day is called Elechin. Fifth hour is called Teyaleach. And it just goes on. Very interesting, although I have no idea why these hours were given names and by who. With the exception of the first hour doesn't have a name. That's also another thing that I found odd. I remember asking this in a forum a good while ago, a forum that Aaron Leach manages. I think Solomonic Greater Key of the Secrets or something like that. But that was years ago, and I didn't get an answer. Hold on for a second. I didn't get an answer. Yeah, I didn't get an answer. I didn't get an answer. In any case, this is an example of what it sounds like. The first hour of the day is ruled by an angel called Samael, who had under his command many dukes and servants, whereof we shall mention 8 of the chief dukes, which is sufficient for practice, who had 444 servants to attend to them. Their names are as followeth: Amaniel, Sharpon. Holy crap, I need to drink something. My voice is falling out. Amaniel, Sharpon, Darosiel, Monasiel, Brumiel, Nestoriel, Cremas, Meresin. And that's an example. Second hour, another example. Second hour of the day is called Savormi, and the angel that governed this hour is called Anayal, who had 10 chief dukes to attend him. Whereof we shall make mention of 9, but the first 3 are of the chief, and the other 6 are of the under dukes. They have 330 servants to attend to them. These 9 are as followeth: Menerges, Sarkial, Cardial, Orphial, Elmoyim, Ruosial, Hermosial, Granial. And it just goes on, okay? Third hour of the day is called Danlor. Angel thereof is called Vigwaniel, who had 28 chief dukes and 200 lesser and a great many servants to attend to them, whereof we shall mention 4 of the chief dukes and 8 of the lesser dukes, who had 1,700 servants to attend them. Their names are as followeth: Ansmiel, Persiel, Mursiel, Zuetiel, Drilmech, Sadimel, Parniel, Comadiel, Gemari, Sautiel, Surfiel, Uruiel. These being sufficient for practice. Okay, and blah blah blah, etc. etc. Okay. Okay, I'm done. Tell me what you guys think of the Ars Paulina Part 1 as a whole. I'm going to be reading comments while I get myself something to drink. David B says, so in order to make the Ars Paulina work, you must have a table like that. Of course, you need to have a table. You need to have correctly corresponding incense. You need to have a crystal ball. You need to be able to make a seal like that. So you need to be a proficient astrologer in order to calculate the correct astrological hours and whatnot. Someone that is new, someone I haven't seen before, called Enochiano1 says, hi Morino, what do you think about opening work? What do you think about work opening sigils primarily to EA querying? I don't know what you mean. Elaborate, please. What do you mean exactly? What do you mean exactly with thinking about work opening seals similarly to querying? Again, you guys can ask questions as much as you'd like on what your thoughts are and what your opinion is on this grimoire. The Ars Paulina Part 1, all of you, Jason Dunn, David B, anyone, Code 919, Gregory M, just go ahead. Let me know what your thoughts are and what you think about this grimoire and so on. Oops. Hmm. Oh, that's better. Oh, that is better. Um, David B says, I think the Ars Paulina is very interesting, but it sounds a bit complicated. A bit, seriously? It's complicated beyond what the average person can comprehend. To me at least, but if the software will do the job, then it's fine. Yeah, that's the beauty of it, okay? But even with the software, it's still hard. With the software, you can do it, but you need to be proficient in astrology first. You need to master astrology so that you understand. You need to, at the very least, be familiar with an ascendant, what an ascendant is, what house cusps are, what zodiac signs are, what planets are, and working in the classical system. But yeah, it's doable. But keep in mind, okay, like I said, that's in theory. In theory, even if you have all of these things, it does not work. That's similar to just gathering all the equipment for the Goetia and it not working. There are other things that you need to do that magicians did not write down. Code 919 is asking me whether I learned astrology from books. Yes, I homeschooled myself in astrology by simply using books. David B's, occult experience is asking me if angels can be invoked without these complicated procedures. What is the advantage of the Ars Paulina? Is it more powerful than just calling these spirits? No. I used to think that too. That's the thing. I thought to myself, what's the difference then? But there is no difference, honestly. There is literally no difference. There is no difference. The thing is that this is what traditional magic is. Traditional magic simply involves doing a bunch of things without any effort. That's the benefit, okay, of traditional magic. You don't have to strain yourself. You don't need anything. All you need is the correct implements, and for the rest, it's simply like following the recipe out of a cookbook, more or less. As opposed to modern way that we practice magic, which requires that you push yourself to the extremes in terms of mastering clairaudience, clairvoyance, and so on and so forth. Okay, but the benefit in modern day magic, of course, is that you don't need any of this stuff. You don't need any of the exotic and hard to obtain, possibly or potentially hard to obtain materials or items. You can just do your thing with as little as possible. Okay. Someone here that's also new, Slaughterhouse Cartoons, is asking me whether I'm still a magician for hire. Yes, I am. I'm assuming that you need my help or something, or you would like to contact me. This is Slaughterhouse Cartoons. Slaughterhouse. Here you go. This is the link to contacting me. You have a good deal of options on how to contact me there. You can contact me via a contact form that will go through email. You can do it via WhatsApp, Messenger, you name it. In any case, if you seriously need help, I'll hear from you. You have the link in the description below with your name on it there, Slaughterhouse. So yeah, in any case, occult experience, there's no difference. The only difference is in the system. the system. It's not like the system is more powerful. It's just a different way of doing things. But the differences lie in what's convenient for you. Okay, what's convenient for you is inconvenient for the other person, and so on. Okay, for one person it's easy to do something, and for the other person it's not so easy. So you need to decide. For some people, traditional grimoire magic is easy. They just need to obtain the items, which are very exotic and hard to obtain depending on where you are, and so on, blah blah blah. But you don't need to strain yourself by mastering clairvoyance and clairaudience. Whereas for other people, which is the most convenient, especially for the modern person or modern individual, you need to go through a whole set of exercises or a series of exercises, and you need to push yourself. And it's simply hard work. It's mentally as well as astrally and physically grueling work, as well as summoning a spirit and learning how to deal with that energy and whatnot. Um, David B is asking me, isn't it similar to Enochian with the scrying angels? Yes, Enochian is also like that, but only similar at a basic level. Enochian is significantly harder. You're also saying you think Solar Fire is the only software astrology you're aware of. Yeah, because I introduced it primarily. Yeah, so there are other softwares out there, but none of them come close to being as detailed as Solar Fire. Solar Fire is still the number one software, and that's why I love it so much. The second I saw Solar Fire, I was hooked. Oh, Code 919 is asking me what books would you recommend for astrology? What books helped you the most? Code 919, Astrology for Beginners by one Hewitt. Hold up. By William Hewitt. By William Hewitt. Hold on, I'll send you the link. Code 919. There you go. That is the link to the book. So you can buy it or whatever you want to do. It's the link to the book online. The book that I'm referring to, Astrology for Beginners. So yeah, that will help you definitely. Occult Experience is asking me, and what software would you recommend for Arch Paulina? It's like David B said, Solar Fire. Solar Fire is for me the only way to go. Gregory M is asking me, is the preparation before the Arch Paulina ritual necessary? You, no, the preparations aren't necessary. I'm assuming that you're referring to Goeric preparations, right? No, no. With the Arch Paulina, but this accounts for the entirety of the Lesser Key of Solomon. You just need to follow the instructions outlined, but like I said, that's not enough. In the Arch Paulina specifically, I discuss what needs to be done additionally. The article embedded, the video embedded in the article, what needs to be done exactly in order to obtain success. It's something that applies to basically every traditional grimoire out there. Um, just give me a second. Someone commented on my article. Hold on. Hmm. Okay. Now someone commented on that Art Paulina article. In any case, yeah. Jackie Nizzle says come online, enjoy the conversation. Hello. Um, he is asking me, do you work with the Sitra Akhra or the Sitra Ara? Well, not literally. I have worked with it, so not a problem. No thanks necessary. He also says, thank you for doing these live streams, also not necessary. Mm, so yeah, when it comes to the Sitra Ara, I've worked with spirits that rule certain cliff out of the Sitra Ara, Lilith being one of them, Baal also being one of them, and so on. I've worked with these spirits, but astral traveling or the tree of death and whatnot, that's all in the past. I've done all of it, but you're saying it seems confusing, kind of. In what way? Confusing how? What's confusing to you about the Sitra Ara? Sitra Ara simply means the opposite side in Hebrew. It's kind of like a shunned side for them, for in Judaism and or Jewish mysticists, they regarded the tree of life as everything, was holy and everything. And then the Sitra Ara was like, oh, over there. That's what Sitra Ara means. Sitra Ara, right over there. The text seems confusing. Which text? What, about the Sitra Ara? Or are you referring to the Arshpolina part one? For the rest, ladies and gentlemen, I am done with the Arshpolina one. Again, like I said, I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to comment what you think about it or what your thoughts are on it and what you need to do or anything that you want to get off your mind or chest when it comes to this grimoire that I've just discussed. I didn't discuss it for nothing after all. The text itself is a bit hard to follow, but yeah, but which text? Text from what? The Ars Paulina, text from the Sitra Ara? What are you referring to exactly? Code 919 is asking me what's the difference between Kundalini, third eye, and astral senses. Is the third eye opening and opening astral senses the same? Yeah, the third eye simply stands for for gaining clairvoyance. So opening up your astral senses or activating your astral senses. Kundalini is a wave of energy that produces a similar sensation going all the way from the bottom of your spine all the way up top to your head, and it's simply energy that is active, that once is activated mythically is rumored to immediately render you able to become super clairvoyant, which is not the case. It's similar to your third eye. It's simply an addition to clairvoyance, but nothing beyond that. I've also a long time ago awakened my Kundalini, and that's what it feels like. That's why the Kundalini is indeed symbolized by a snake climbing a stick or something, because that's what it feels like. I feel a force of energy going up my spine, similar to a snake. And that's it. David B says, I try Ars Paulina, but I don't have a place for such a table. Yeah, I understand. Believe me, you don't want to try the Ars Paulina. You don't want to try traditional magic altogether. It's impractical. Back then, they weren't advanced, so they had to make do with stuff like this. They weren't advanced in the sense of technologically as well as in terms of just human development. So they didn't practice clairvoyance by scrying and so on. I don't think they knew what scrying was back then. Or in any case, they didn't, at the very least, they didn't think of implementing scrying to summon spirits, you name it. So summoning spirits was done like most other things at a basic level. Back then, they didn't have dryers too, and they simply cooked primitively. They barely had proper pots and pans and cutlery, so everything was done over either charcoal or wood. You know what I'm getting at. There were no air conditioners. So yeah, enough examples given. Slaughterhouse Cartoons says, what do you know about the jinn? What I know about the jinn is simply the Arabic word for spirit. Jinn are simply seen as spirits in the Middle East. For example, hey, I saw a jinn. Then yeah, it's simply a spirit, a jinn. So what of it? Code 919 is asking me, once you've raised your Kundalini or the effects permanent, where did you learn to raise your Kundalini? No one taught me how to raise your Kundalini. You simply need to do it by intent, by focusing on unlocking your Kundalini and simply visualizing it happening. and it will happen, and you'll simply feel like it's similar to the middle pillar ritual in the Golden Dawn. You'll feel energy flowing through from the bottom of your spine all the way upwards to your head. But that's it. Believe me, it's nothing special. It's no different than general clairvoyance. So I wouldn't bother, to be honest. So yeah, traditional grimoire magic can be fun. Okay. I was so proud. I remember being so proud of myself when I built that table, and I was like, wow, I made that. I literally made that. I built that table, that beautiful table. I built it. Um, but yeah, that's it. For the rest, it doesn't mean anything without the results. That was the whole problem. Okay, even with old school Golden Dawn magic, emphasis is not laid so much on effectiveness and gaining results. I love my dagger. I love my ceremonial dagger. I love my thingy. I love this. I love that. But I love my altar. But none of it means anything without the results. Um Janky Nizzle is asking me, how can you discern jinn from a typical spirit or what people would consider a demon? Jinn just means spirit in general. That's why they have several kinds of jinn in the Middle East. They have fire jinns, they have water jinns. These are simply elemental spirits or spirits that align with those elements. And they also use the word jinn for the same word they use it for evil, as far as I know. Okay, so simply a malevolent jinn, that means book evil spirit. What can be considered a demon is what hurts people. Period. David B says it can be fun, but the expenses are not. Of course not. The expenses are not fun. Okay, make no mistake. On all of my old school Golden Dawn equipment, I think I spent close to $1,000 or something on it. Slaughterhouse Cartoon says, what do I know about Leviathan? Nothing really. I haven't worked with Leviathan, so I have no info on Leviathan. Code 919 says, I've seen some YouTubers by King Solomon's sword while working with the Guecha. Why? Because it says that you need Solomon. It was called Solomon's sword since it's named after Solomon, the Grimoire. It's named after Solomon as a whole. I have no idea if Solomon really wrote it. A lot of people are skeptical about whether King Solomon wrote it, or if someone just wrote it and then placed Solomon's name on it in order to give him credit, or to in order to do something similar. Okay. Code 919 was startled, $1,000. Yes, $1,000. Keep in mind, over here, that is half a year's worth of salary. So I saved up like no other, and I just bought the things one by one, just bit by bit, piece by piece. Yeah, in any case, the Solomonic sword is also used in the rituals. It's meant to coerce spirits into abiding by your will. David B says, so is it true to say that from the Guwecha grimoire, you don't really need all of those things like swords, wands, and such? Of course, that's not the case. I mean, you don't need any of that stuff. You literally do, regardless of what kind of spirit you want to summon, you don't need any of that stuff that is mentioned in any traditional grimoire. You need some basic things, of course, but nah, for the rest, nothing. Someone whose name I can't pronounce, Oreo, I think, with Viking like O, the O with the line going through it, asking me what's the difference between evocation and invocation. Evocation is summoning a spirit in front of you, physically, preferably in physical form, without the energy going through you. Invocation is summoning a spirit by having that energy pass through you in order to manifest before you. That's an invocation. That's the difference between an invocation and an evocation. Uh, Hold on. I'm also going to show you guys my old school Golden Dawn things. I'm going to show you guys my old school Golden Dawn thingies so you guys can see for yourself. Hold up for a second. OneDrive. Just give me a second. So yeah, it's gonna take a couple of seconds. So hold on, I'll just show you guys in a minute or two. All the I took it with a high resolution camera, so it's a large file size, 24 MB. So it needs to upload 24 MB right now. So while we wait, I'll be answering the other questions, before I show you my old school stuff. Janky Nissels is asking me what brought me to magic. Was it choice? Was it a choice or otherwise? Yes, it was a choice, but it was also destined. My affinity for the occult led me to magic. Davina KY says evocation is physical manifestation. No, not just that. Even if it's astral, there's also something as astral evocation, where you summon spirits astrally, so not physically. Astral evocation simply involves is a lot easier. And astral evocation simply means the same thing. That's why it says evoking. Evoking, loosely translated, hints at I call forth. I call forth, okay, in front of me. Whereas invocation simply means I call from within. So you can see the differences. Code 919 says his mother, haha, he is meant to be a magician. David B says, what's the next grimoire? I don't have a next grimoire at the moment. I need to check in a second. Hold up. I'm just going to show you guys. It's still uploading. Yeah, it'll take a while. Hold on. Not a while, but a couple of minutes. Gregory Young says, is there a way to modernize the Arch Paulina or will it change everything? It's not necessary to modernize the Arch Paulina. You can work with all the spirits that are mentioned in the Arch Paulina by just using modern magical skills. Devine KY says you should make mini magic courses like for 20 to 30, same value of information for price, $20 to $30. He means no, I don't do that. I'm quality, not quantity. That's why my Astro course is $1,500 and my and my occult course is $2,000. Quality, not quantity. That's what I'm all about, and that's laughable. I mean, seriously, $20 to $30. I think a pack of smokes costs more. A pack of cigarettes costs more. Yeah. David B says it's worth it considering the things included. Yeah, duh. Of course it's worth it. Laura House Cartoons is asking me whether I know about Nordic magic. I'm assuming you mean Nordic magic. Nordic magic, in a sense of Nordic magic, is just pagan. It's paganistic in nature. I've worked with Nordic gods, Zeus, Odin, and Thor. I'm sorry, what am I saying? Zeus. I mean Thor, Odin, and Loki, and so on. Summoned Freya, Balder, Skadi, and so on. But that's it. What do you have options about aliens and magic? You mean what my options are? There is, as far as I know, no connections between aliens and magic. So no. Um, the container and the contents is asking me whether Ravenberg is my real last name or an adopted magic name. Yes, Ravenberg is my real last name. Okay. Um, I'll show you. Hold on. I'll show you on my passport. I don't mind. This is just for people just are that are just doubtful. Oh, read it. My full name is Marino Carlo Ravenberg. My second name is Carlo. So yeah, that's my full name. Crap. Yeah, it's literally it's a stereotypical Dutch name. Okay, it's pronounced Ravenberg. Berg means mountain in Dutch, so my name loosely translates to Raven Rock, uh, hinting at a mountain of ravens. And the definition for raven stays the same in Dutch as well as in English. Uh, my first name is Latin for more. simply hinting at my Moorish ancestry. If you don't know who the Moors are, just look it up. Okay, MOOR. The Moors were simply a group of They were also called Berbers. They in medieval times they were from the Ottoman Empire, Muslim Empire. They were a mixture, I think, of Caucasians and Arabs or something similar. They were sub-Saharan and whatnot, and they they conquered a good deal of the Iberian Peninsula, including Spain, where Spain is nowadays, and Portugal. You name it, look them up. Oh, Janky Nizzle says, I think there is only because of the frequency both used to communicate in response to uh, the whole alien spirits thing. Well, to each his own. You can believe what you want, but as far as I know, no. Oreo is asking me how can I evoke or invoke goddess Astarte by becoming a magician. David B says there is also Teurgia Goetia. Any thoughts about that? Yeah, good that you mention it. We might cover that next. Code 919 says, what would you do if you became a multimillionaire? What would you spend the money on besides survival? At the moment, I have no idea, but that is an impractical question because it's highly unlikely that I'm going to encounter any of those things. Oh yeah, and here you guys go. These are my old magical implements back when I still lived in that one bedroom apartment where I turned my living room into a an altar space. And this was old school golden dawn. All of this stuff, the whole $1,000 thing cost this. Yeah, there you go. That's what it looked like. You can see here. Hold up, let me hold my cell phone a different way so that's easier to scroll. There you go. You can see for yourself. You can see the elemental tablets, and you can see everything. The water cup. I had my own sword even on the table. Blah blah blah, etc. etc. Let me see if I can swipe. Yeah, there you go. This is what my thingy looked like. My altar. You can see the fire wand, the ceremonial dagger, the cup, my magic wand that I had imported. The I forgot what it was called. The other thing with the with the earth thingy. I forgot what it's called. The sun kind of like a circular thing, an earth tablet or something. That's made up of several colors. I have my air dagger too. This is what it looked like. As you can see, I even had the tetragrammaton thing. I even had that. Hold on. Yeah, so that's what it looked like with the triangle of the art. Yeah, that's what it was called, triangle of the art. And as you can see there, and I had incense imported. I had everything. I really worked my ass off, and yeah, these are the elemental scrying tools that I used for entering an element. So, for example, entering something and entering a new sphere. For example, entering the astral sphere of the moon while astral traveling, entering the element fire. So how it works is that you simply were to scry it for a bit, then close your eyes and then astral travel and then visualize the opposite image that you saw in your mind and go through it as a doorway, and then boom, you're in the element. You're in fire, you're in earth, water, air. The tinier ones you saw were for the planets. This stuff was necessary when I was a beginner, but it's not anymore, of course. Once you're adept, then it's baggage. It's not necessary to use any of these things. You can at any time visualize a door in the sense of, hey, listen, I want to go to the element fire, astral travel, visualize the door, boop. When I enter this door, I'll be going into the element fire, and boom, you're there. Even a door might not be necessary. You just need to focus on going to fire or being in fire, and you'll be in fire. Jason Dunn says reception where I am is poor, so I will catch up later if you see this. Can't even hear you right now. Wow, that's sad. So you're on the road. I thought you were home. Okay, too bad. David B is asking me whether I also have a robe. I had a robe. It was a typical black robe, but I don't have. It was a typical black robe, but I don't have it anymore. I also threw it out a long time ago. I don't have it anymore. I just went to a tailor and I told him I want a black robe, kind of like a ceremonial robe, and that was it. Janky Nizzles is asking me, do you believe that your belief in yourself is the primary aspect in your magical success? So more than your education? No, no. Code 919 or astral sense is mandatory for magic? Yes, they're mandatory for magic. A bunch of things are mandatory for magic. Without these things, you won't get anywhere, period. These things are the basic things that you need to have in order to get somewhere. So yeah, if there are any other questions that anyone has to ask relating to the Arch Paulina and whatnot, then ask them now. So just let me know. Um, and David B wanted to discuss the Theurgia Goetia. The Theurgia Goetia, David B, I've covered that in detail too, because I have work from the Theurgia Goetia. Hold up for a second. I'm going to share it with you here. There you go, David B. You can check it out whenever you want to. And that's it. Okay, I'm not going to lie to you guys, okay? I am a bit beat. I've just discussed two grimoires in detail. So right now I'm just going to take it easy and answer miscellaneous questions. So any questions that anyone wants to ask can be asked, as opposed to just topic related questions. You're welcome, David B. Someone new too that I don't recognize. Disney Junak. I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly. I'm sorry if I'm not. Is asking me whether we can astral project in dreams to physical locations anywhere. Can we astral project in dreams to physical locations somewhere? No, no, you can't. Astral projecting while you're dreaming is already one hell of a stretch, and let alone to an actual location, to a physical location. No, just astral travel. Period. The VNKI says on a scale of 1 to 10, rate yourself in terms of power and expertise on your personal opinion. Since you're a trained 3-year magician, it's been longer than 3 years. Okay, the 3 years is simply a general statement that I use, but for a benchmark for people if they want to ask me a similar question to what you're asking me right now in terms of experience and knowledge. But it's been longer, okay? Believe me, it's been more like 5 years or something. Is there even more levels to discover for you? There are more. There will always be more. Okay, the world is infinite, so yeah, there will always be more things to discover. But I am no longer publishing new material, so I'm also not going to discover new things. I've literally just called it a quits, and I am simply taking it easy and enjoying everything that I've worked so hard for. On a scale of 1 to 10, based on my own personal opinion, I'd rate myself a 9. Janky Nissel says, do you have a go-to number that's your favorite? A go-to number that's my favorite. My favorite number is 5 since it corresponds to Mars. The VNKI says how to develop astral senses. Just explain to us the basics. You can consult my website for that. I have a post on astral senses. You just need to look up astral senses on my YouTube channel or my website and you'll find it. The container and contents is asking me what's a good
What's a good ritual or your favorite ritual for general health? I don't have a favorite ritual, and there's no such thing as a good ritual. If you want to maintain healthy general health, then the sun is a good way to go. So any solar spirit like Raphael that specializes in health is good. Disney Junak wanted to ask if astral projection and remote viewing are one and the same. That's what he's getting at. No, they're not. They're very similar, but they're not. With astral projection, you're literally stepping outside your physical body and you're nothing, you're the only thing you've got with you is your astral body. So you are your astral body and you're stepping outside yourself. And then you're traveling the astral plane with your astral body. Whereas 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 remote viewing is almost like mind traveling. Is remote viewing is literally just clairvoyance from afar. Remote viewing is just that it's clairvoyance, but it's clairvoyance in specifically used for divulging secrets and locations and whatnot. Code 919 says how to stop spirits invading dreams. How to stop spirits from invading dreams? I don't know. Just use something to protect yourself when you go to sleep. Either sleep with garlic next to your bed, a couple of cloves of garlic or something similar, something to ward off negativities or negative energy. Someone whose name I can't pronounce, it's not a name, just UL, just a bunch of letters randomly typed in. Is invocation or evocation easier to do, or is there no difference? This question was already asked a while ago. Invocation is literally is summoning something from within. Okay, so energy passing through you in order to direct said energy or in order to manifest. Whereas evocation is energy that is manifested in front of you, just calling for energy in front of you, and it metaphorically speaking, not touching you. That's the difference. Anyone have any other questions? Any other questions? Any other questions? Still waiting. Is the world of the occult supposed to be such a lonely place? Janky Nizzles. Yes, the occult in general stands for hidden knowledge. Occultism means hidden knowledge. So, yeah, the knowledge is hidden. And therefore, generally speaking, occultists are people that are lonely. Not in the sense of literally lonely, I'm not lonely, but occultists are people that are more alone. They don't socialize a lot with others because, as the saying goes, God lies in solitude. God does not lie within the masses. Stick with the masses and you won't get any further than the masses. Whereas if you actually try to seek out God, you'll encounter things and you'll go places you've never been or places that no one has ever been. Code 919 is asking me any random ghost story. Random ghost story? I have so many ghost stories. I have so many ghost stories, but just telling a random ghost story. Disney Junak is asking me spirits can influence dreams easily. No, it's not it. The spirit is communicating with you when you're asleep because you're easier to reach due to the fact that your physical body is dormant and your astral body is easier to approach, and that manifests itself as a dream. For example, dreaming that a beautiful man came to you and he told you that you are this and you are that, that means that a spirit came to you and he told you that you're this and that. Occult experience is asking me, what does Satan think of the teachings at the Church of Satan? Is that something Mr. Satan himself endorsed? Does Satan mind that the statue in his church is actually Baphomet? He says no, because the church is not devoted to him. And that's true. The church simply uses him as a symbol for freedom and liberty and basically not being oppressed or under the yoke of God, so to speak. But of course, it's nonsense since we're all under the yoke of God. Um oh, okay. The person whose name I can't pronounce is saying, I know you explained the difference already. I was asking if there is a difference in difficulty between the two. Invoking is easier than evoking. Evoking takes more time and energy and whatnot, I don't know, and more resources. Janky Nizzle says, have a great day, everyone. Cheer up. Yeah, bye to you too. And Code 919, I don't really have a story, a ghost story right now. I mean, I have plenty, but to be honest, I don't feel like telling a ghost story right now because honestly, it's boring compared to what we're discussing. That I saw a spirit, for example. It's boring. If you want ghost stories, I do have an article on my website called Ghost Stories. Let me see. Yeah, I have an article as well as an embedded video. There you go, Code 919. Enjoy the ghost stories. And you're asking me, do you still feel Samael's energy on your spine? Samael's energy, Samael and Sandalphon are part of who I am. They're ingrained in my psyche because I've worked with them for so long, and their energy is literally, I'm so used to it that it's nothing short of common to me. The energy. Samael's energy is hot, whereas Sandalphon's energy is tingly. Davine KI says, why are evil people immune to karmic backlash, but good people not immune? I know they'll get it next in life, but demon users are truly immune. No, karma applies to everyone. Disney Shunak is asking, ghosts are wandering spirits or can be any energies? A ghost can be any energy, any kind of energy. Some ghosts are wandering spirits, some are the deceased, and some are this, some are that. So yeah, that is it. Does anyone have any other questions? I don't know if you're still online. What's your name? Slaughterhouse something. Slaughterhouse Cartoons. Again, if you're serious about contacting me, I'll hear it from you. This is in relation to you asking me whether I'm still a magician for hire. I don't know if you need help or something or whatever your problem is. Again, I'll give people a minute or so to comment or to ask any kind of questions. I've been live streaming for 2 hours now, and I am going to close off the stream if no one has any other questions. The VNKI is asking whether Solomon was real or not. There are theories that he's just a symbolic rumor in YouTube. No, Solomon was an actual king, an actual person. Solomon, the biblical king. So yeah, I'm sorry just for just staring out into empty space, but yeah, I'm just waiting
Um, the person with the impronounceable name says, "Thank you for taking the time. No problem." Again, I'll give people a minute. If no one has any questions, then yeah, then I'm also done. Devin KI says, "Thanks a lot. Thanks very much. Yeah, sure, no problem." So yeah, if no one has anything else to say, then yeah, it's basta, finished, finito, clar. Occult experience is asking me if demons are so powerful that they can they can be at all places at the same time, so simultaneously. Why do they need legions of slaves? They're not. It's not demons. This applies to spirits as a whole. They have subservient spirits because these spirits do the job for you specifically. I mean, when I ask Samael something, he doesn't always do it himself. In most cases, he himself is telling me that. In most cases, he has plenty of subordinates that do the dirty work. That's what they're there for. And he delivers the final result. That's it. Carlos Santander, I've never seen you before. How did you started? How did you get to How did you start working with your patron Samael? I just did. I just started with him. I've already told that story a couple of times. Just consult my website or my YouTube channel if you want to know. The post is called Working with the Destroyer. Code 919 says, "Thank you, Marino." It's Morino. Morino. Pronounce my name correctly, please. Say hi to Samuel from my side. Yeah, he says noted. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, no one is asking any other questions. So yeah, I think I'm gonna close off this live stream. Everyone have a nice day. Have a pleasant Sunday. And I am out. Bye.